sometimes it just works out the right way. Sometimes you make a decision, and at the time that that decision comes to fruition, it's the exact time you needed to see it.
The reason why we care about who Bill Belichick dated when he retired is because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
How did Shedeur Sanders leapfrog 4 or 5 other guys?
I don't look at Pro Bowls anymore. I look at all pro.
100%.
But everybody thinks about a bully as some dude getting shoved in lockers, the movie bullying. I have been bullied.
But I also believe that people should hire the best coach for their organization, regardless of color.
Leader of men. There's undertone phrases that people use that I don't like. I do believe it has something to do with an old school thought process, but man, let's move forward. Well, let's see, black people can be quarterbacks, black people can be head coaches, black people, hey, tell y'all a secret, we're pretty smart.
Hold up, limitless, niggas to me got pin in it. I fought the here to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, get me up. On the mission, get me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust, limitless, niggas to me got pin in it. I fought the here to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Well, fellas, it's another Friday. You know what I mean? We know who the teams in the Super Bowl are going to be, right? Maybe we'll see Richard Sherman with the old no face again. When Malcolm,
Don't do that to Sherman.
Hey, when Malcolm caught the interception, my boy said, you thought Ricky had got shot again on Boys in the Hood when he saw that. Man, this is Fred Taylor, this is Channing Crowder and Ryan Clark, Pivot Fam. Thank y'all for pivoting with us. Chan, so you have irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah.
Which you talk about often.
Yeah, a disrespected community.
Yeah, well, we have all been a victim of your irritable bowel syndrome in some sort of way.
I was just in the bathroom.
We know.
Okay.
It was a long time too. Do you use the bathroom and fart and stuff in front of Asia? Because Chrissy Teigen says that she does not in front of John Legend.
You know what? This is funny because I got my guts ain't all the way there.
Flatulence.
I got just in flatulence spread. I just some items. I'll say this because Ryan brought up a point where we was talking about the proposal thing, where it's communication. And I think these damn phones has changed communication. Where I didn't find a problem. You know, me and Asia will be together 17 years. Where at some point, and this is a decade ago, she told me, she's like, bro, and anybody with IBS know that if you eat too close to going to bed, the flatulence is there. And she was like, listen, you
fart in your sleep, you said?
No, but just when I wake up, like I gotta run to the bathroom 5:30, 6 a.m. And now that she explained that to me a decade ago, now I leave and go. We're blessed to have a larger house. And I leave and go to another part of the house. I go to the kids' room. I blow a kid's room. I blow a baby's room up. Why they sleep? Daddy, what you doing? Go to bed.
So little Chan gotta wake up with that smell in his room?
Man, I'm daddy. But if they articulate that point to you that this is not, I like don't enjoy it, I don't want this, it's uncomfortable for me, I think that's a thing. I
Fred,
really do.
So Fred, do you think it's cool for a woman, though, to just fart and be loose at the booty around her man?
Loose booty.
It's gonna get your attention. I think what they say is better out than in, and obviously you just deal with it like everything else in a relationship. Shit happen, you just deal with it and kind of keep carrying on. Right?
Literally.
Yeah, shit, you just deal with it for real. Relationships are strange in that way, right? Personally, I won't use the restroom with the door open. I ain't using it. You gotta close the door. And if she's in there using the restroom, I'm gonna come by and I'm gonna close the door. Like nobody wanna see all of that because a vision kind of takes place and takes over, right? So it's nasty on the surface for a lot of people, for me, because I'm so finicky. But at the same time, I do understand, like, it's healthier out than in. I'm just gonna slowly walk away.
Bro, y'all are absolutely crazy, bro. Ain't no way folks supposed to be in a relationship for like decades and years and never fart around each other or never, like, we know you poop. And and I get it, Fred. I guess, man, you could close the door. I don't really care to close the door. I don't care if you close the door. Like, I ain't really tripping. I know it's happening. Now, here's the thing. You can't come at me guns blazing, right? So, like, we can't be in the bed you go poop, I hear you in there farting or using it or something, and then you want spoon.
Now I'm the big spoon.
Yeah, now we can't, we can't do that. There gotta be a level of respect. And you also, too, you can't be like cranking up the farts. Like we finna not have a fart battle where you pump me and I pump you. But like, I don't want you walking around with your stomach gurgling and then now you can't use the bathroom regular. Like to me, I'm with this now. If I'm gonna do it, I can't tell you not to do it. And if I feel like it's gross for you to do it, then I shouldn't do it. Like I can't be around here just letting my stomach rip and then you around here balled up. I'm trying to ask what's wrong with you. And now we in the hospital because your intestines twisted up. I'm sorry, dog. People be on some, they hypocrites. People be on some bull crap. It's like the Hall of Fame.
Oof.
People be.
Say it loud.
It's personal. It's person to person.
Talking about Bill Belichick.
Talking about Bill Belichick. I love it because, like Fred said,
Fred,
you can't you don't want to watch your lady sit on the toilet. RC, you don't care. I don't care either. But it's person to person. And I think it's whenever it comes down to committees, because ain't no way in the hell William Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't tell me that. Bruh, name them. Who? Hallis? No. Who else you want to name? Shula, the winningest coach. He has more Super Bowls, and everybody in the world knows he's a better coach than them. It's personal, and I saw RC tweet talking about Bill Polian. Who was Bill Polian with? The damn Colts. Yeah. Who was getting their ass whooped by the Patriots in the AFC while Bill was there. When you have a committee, it becomes personal. All that's personal, and I do believe that it has something to do with Bill's post-football personal life. And I've had pushback on that, but I think it has something to do with if Bill Belichick retires from the Patriots, disappears for 5 years, I think he gets in this year. I honest to God believe it has something to do with the aftermath of what he's done, Jordan, everything that people look at with him post-Patriot career. And I don't know if y'all can run me off that.
No, I don't think it's post-Patriot career at all, if that's what you were saying.
Yes.
I think it's first, the media are gatekeepers to the Hall of Fame, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I can tell you, because I've been experiencing, votes in and out over the years, so I've kind of been learning how the process goes. You have 32 teams, you have 32 selectors from those teams, 16 national, and then 2 at large, makes up 50. That's the 50 votes that they were speaking about. Throughout Bill's career as a coach, for the most part, when the media had to get an interview, Bill alienated the media. He didn't want to deal with the media. Even in the meetings, he would tell us as players, look, don't give them too much information. They're morons. Not in a disrespectful way. He just didn't want us to kind of
They're not
tip
your
the hat.
friend.
They're not your friends, exactly. Yeah. So from that, it came back full circle. And I believe this is what's hunting Bill. You have these gatekeepers who subjectively has a bias. They get to determine whether you said something or did something to me on a personal level, as you mentioned not too long ago. And I believe a lot of them, they're carrying that. Because ain't no freaking way. Bill Belichick, the best coach to ever coach the game of football. You can't tell the story without mentioning Bill Belichick or the Patriots or Tom Brady. So why not put him in, right? And I was fighting for Coach Coughlin to get in with 2 Super Bowls. Can you imagine how long Coach Coughlin has to wait now? Because if Belichick isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, as I've heard RC say, who is as a head coach? You know what I mean? So even Tom Landry, not as many wins, not as many Super Bowl wins, coached the same amount of years. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer in the 90s. Yeah, these guys, man, they just kind of sit back, they get with each other, and they say, hey, what are your thoughts? And they kind of share notes. And this is from experience, from things that I've had to deal with over the years. And I don't have an argument at all. Mine is very subjective, right? And you have to fight for me in campaign. But Bill Belichick, ain't no fucking way.
Yeah, I think the immaturity, the pettiness, the unprofessionalism shown by those who voted is shameful. It's embarrassing for the NFL. People are upset about what the Pro Bowl has become. Well, it starts with you tearing it down and making it less important. That's what you're doing to the Hall of Fame. We already having these conversations about people that actually get in that should be in the hall of really good, right? And every year we hear people, these writers, make their point for their players like, oh yeah, as a quarterback, he had a 500 record. And as a quarterback, this was his touchdown to interception ratio. And he only had 4 Pro Bowls and he was never a first team All Pro. But man, he had these 2 great Super Bowl runs. He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then you pissed off when he not. And you trying to push a dude like that in, no disrespect. I believe he should get in and he will get in. But then you talking about Bill Belichick and he not in? Like on the first go around? And God rest their souls. Chuck Noll should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Don Shula should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Tom Landry should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And no disrespect to their family, they rolling over in their graves right now that Bill Belichick is not amongst them.
Yes.
Because they all know that their resumes don't stack up to the resume this man built. And thank God for Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, a real G. Somebody who understands pettiness keeping you out of something you earned. The pettiness of Jerry Jones kept him out of the Ring of Honor in Dallas for all that time. And for him to say, and call Bill Polian name out specifically, Coach Mudd, who coached for you, and Tony Dungy taught us all how to do the things you're saying Bill Belichick did. He just better at it. He was just better at it than us. We couldn't figure it out. And so, period, point blank, if the new rule is, if I don't like who you date when you retire, you can't get into Hall of Fame, a lot of people shouldn't get in. If the new rule is, if you cheated or something happened and you can't get in or you shouldn't be first ballot, then a player who deflated footballs, and I love him to death, he shouldn't get in first ballot, and we know damn well he better. So to me, bro, like this can't happen. It's sad that it happens, and the walls of the Hall of Fame are less important and monumental because he didn't get in first ballot.
It's less about Bill Belichick, but more about those guys that are selecting and the actual process. They don't have a real state of criteria to push these guys through. That's the big problem.
It's people making decisions and having their bias, and that's what a committee is. They put together a committee, what do you say, 32, 16, and 2, whatever it is. They have their bias. The reason why we care about who Bill Belichick dated when he retired is because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Real talk. That's real. If he was just a regular coach, we wouldn't be tripping.
Name somebody else's girlfriend. It's because he was good at his goddamn job.
Bill bullied the league, and we talked about it coming back full circle. Tracy Morgan, you saw the clip? You guys saw the clip? He just ran up on, well, one of his former bullies from their younger days ran up on him, asking him for money, and he was homeless. What are your thoughts about that?
Man, listen, I was bullied. First time when I saw it, I thought about Trey at North Spring High School. You gonna laugh at my bully story?
I'm sorry.
You better be sorry. This is a traumatic situation for me.
I'm wrong. Trey used to beat you up.
I was thinking about jumping on RC today. I might have to jump on him today. Trey.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you. He needed it.
He was a senior. I walked in as a sophomore. I was always cute, but I wasn't as big as I am now. I ain't hit my growth spurt until my sophomore summer. I was about 5'9", about 160. And there's a big area in front of the cafeteria when you walk in through the front of North Springs High School. I walk down the hallway, go through the big area, and that's where everybody hangs on the walls or going to the cafeteria. I was going to get my free breakfast because I was on free lunch and breakfast because we wasn't doing well. And I walked through the first day of school, and Trey grabbed the back of the hole in the top of my book bag and pulled it down and let all my books fall out in front of all the pretty fine girls and everybody in the school. And him and his buddies started laughing. And Trey messed with me a lot. All my sophomore year, Trey fooled with me a lot. Then Trey left. If I ever see Trey again, I'm gonna lock up. But that gets to the story about Tracy Morgan. If Trey right now is a homeless person, I know what he looks like, and he comes up like, Chan, I'm doing bad. And I see and look him in his face, I'm gonna do exactly what Tracy did. Bro, you don't remember North Springs, 99? I ain't give you a damn penny, bro. You gave me hell for 7 months. And you want me to give you some money now that I succeeded and you didn't? Tracy did the right thing. Kiss my ass. And I know we joking about it, but everybody thinks about a bully as some dude getting shoved in lockers, the movie bullying. I have been bullied. And if I ever see my bully again, especially in that situation, I commend Tracy Morgan for doing
What
he
about the
did.
Bible? What about what the Bible says?
Man, I love the Lord, but f- Trey.
Hey, Trey can't get Nathan.
What about the Bible to him? He ain't listen to the Lord.
Hey, you wasn't none of the disciples.
He ain't do nothing to him. You think Peter and Paul and Philip, I don't even know this. Philip is not a disciple.
Philip.
You think they want him to open my book bag and let all my
Oh
shit
my
fall on the
God.
They wasn't in the Bible
Bro,
either.
hey, say Trey, hey, honestly, at that time, they wasn't even getting the trades yet. You wasn't even having thirds at that time. Trey don't even have his whole name. His name probably like Emmanuel. Emmanuel Forbes.
Bro, and Trey, if you see it, bro, yeah, you open my book bag now. Hi, bitch.
What if Trey rich now, though?
Trey ain't rich.
Hey, you know what?
Trey wasn't that good at baseball.
You know what, though? I will say, man, like with the Tracy Morgan thing and reminding someone that they bullied him, we don't get to judge how Tracy processed that.
Yeah.
Or how he's still processing that. Like, unlike you, though, how you say if you saw your bully, you wouldn't give them money if they was down bad, I would. And, you know, there are people who I don't, you know, if I see anybody who is on the street and needs money or wants a meal or any of those things, like, I do it. You know, I give them money or I buy them something because I don't know that person's story. That person could have been somebody else's bully. And here is where they are now. Just like if somebody bullied me, like, maybe part of it, I was bullied because I started school early and I was small. Maybe part of it was you was dealing with something at home. What was you dealing with? And now you brought it to me, but I know because of you, there's a part of me that grew into what I am. And I'm not gonna hold your 40-year-old self accountable for your 16-year-old self. At 46, I'm asking people to not hold my 43-year-old self against my 46-year-old self. Sometimes my yesterday self against my today self. So if this dude's coming up to me and he needs me, like, I ain't hurting. If you need $5, if you need $10, if you need $20, if I got it, you got it. And I also believe, though, I don't get to judge Tracy Morgan. I don't get to tell him he got to act different, because he don't. I don't get to tell him that what he did was wrong. We don't get to tell Michael B. Jordan when he called that girl out on the red carpet that he was wrong, because you don't know how he still feels. And sometimes it's even better to do this. Hey, man, I remember you. I remember how you treated me. I remember that you bullied me, right? But you ain't break me. Here, what you need, go eat, right? And I think, like, and that could also be part of your healing. And I'll say this too. We gotta stop with like, oh, you gotta have grace. Oh, you gotta forgive. Just because I don't F with you, that don't mean I ain't forgave you. Just because I don't let you get back in a spot where you could do to me what you did to me before, that don't mean I ain't got grace for you. That means you showed me who you are, and now I'm finna put you in this box. So that ain't never gotta happen again. Cause I ain't gotta be, if you run my head into the wall, right? I ain't gotta be like, I'm gonna chase you my rest of my life until I can beat you up. But I'm not finna put my head close to this mother effing wall again so you could do it twice.
Right.
And that's what I would say, because you make a good point where, like, holding a grudge or like doing it from your heart. Like, I'm not holding this grudge with this person. He bad off, I'm good. Because that's why I give. It's funny when people say, when you see somebody that's obviously on drugs and ask for money, and you just shoot him money, he gonna go buy a rock. I did that because I'm caring about another human that asked me for something. I don't care what he goes and does with his $10 I gave him. I'm just trying to help him out. He asked me and I said yes, because in my heart, I wanted to help another human. I don't think Trey is a good person. It's funny because I don't know any homeless person that walks to me. I don't know their heart. I don't know their heart. But knowing that I was bullied by this person, you were nasty. And I don't want to help out a nasty person. And I think it's crazy because all the money I gave to bums over the days, I'm sure there's some nasty bums I gave money to. But I know that you have a nasty heart and you don't deserve my $8. I don't know if y'all tell me if it's petty or not.
No, those are all valid points. To each his own. Obviously, at the end of the day, it depends on where your heart is, you know, at that particular point in time. But I think for me, you know, just looking back on my life as both of you guys were talking, and I'm sitting here analyzing whether or not if I would have done it or not. One, I would have to be in that moment and put myself in that moment I don't carry cash. So there's a chance my bully probably wouldn't have got anything because he homeless. That means he ain't got Cash App, Zelle, or one or the other. So it's a good chance that he ain't getting nothing.
You want a Cash App or hobo?
Hey, yo, let me get your QR code. Man, I ain't got no phone. You out of gas. I think it would have played out like that if I'm in the moment. But truthfully, though, you know, my agent who screwed up my money, he was a financial bully. He took advantage of us. While he was in jail, he came out, he got a second chance. I called him. I wanted to know like why it happened, this and that. I'm not gonna give you anything, but I do want understanding. Same thing with I hate to say this, with B. Marsh. With how that situation went down, I called him on my birthday 2 years ago just to say, yo, what's up? I support everything you're doing. You know, so I gave him a second chance. But I was actually in that moment shitted on. So I said, never again. So I let the person burn their own bridge. They make that bed, you lie in it. I'm cool with that. But I'm okay with opening my heart and giving you a second chance because that's the type of person I am. But truthfully, in that particular moment, if I were there replacing Tracy Morgan at that point in time, I don't carry cash.
No.
He ain't got no
But
phone.
you say burn a bridge.
Right.
If your bridge is burned, is it rebuilt in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years? He burnt my bridge. He embarrassed me in front of the whole damn school. I'm not giving you a dime if I ever see you again. The bridge was burned.
Yeah, I will say this, and this is way off the subject. You know, you guys have been around me when I've been in tense moments with people, right? Bigger than me, small, it don't matter. And like, I never get nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really am. And not even in like no tough guy way. Like, I just know I put myself in this position, you put yourself in this position, we in this position now. Like, whatever happens next, happens next. There's the Starbucks across from the hotel that I stayed in for work. And it's a black lady, you know, I believe she's homeless. So I saw her like 2 weeks ago, around Christmas. She's sitting there, just in the corner, not bothering nobody, kind of talking to herself. I walk over to her, I say, hey, can I help you? Because Starbucks is packed. She's like, can you get me a hot chocolate? I said, I'll do you one better. I said, I'll give you money to get a hot chocolate. So I gave her $20. I said, if you want to get the hot chocolate, but you keep the money. So I saw her outside. I walked past her. I know she liked hot chocolate. She was just outside. She didn't ask me for nothing. So I bought her one. And the lady in Starbucks actually said her name and was like, oh, that's the so-and-so. I can't remember her name. She's so nice. So I saw her again. I spoke to her when I walk in, and I'm waiting for my drink. She had one next to her already, and I'm in the corner, bro, and she just starts screaming at me. She's like, you effing N-word? Like, you gonna let these white people talk to me like that and treat me like that? And like, she's cussing me like, she's like, you know, what you gonna do? She said, you know, RAP, because I don't know if we can say it on YouTube, right? And I'm like, well, damn. So I go to walk out, and she stands in front of me, and she's screaming this at me again. And the young lady from behind the counter went out to tell her to leave. You know what I'm saying? And when she's like screaming at me, she's calling me like the R word, the N word. She's like, what you gonna do, black man? You gonna let them treat me like, and like, it made me realize that the people who are asking you for help, they got something, right? Like, and some of them may be bad people, but something has happened to them. There is some trauma in their life. And it was the first time, man, I could say in years, when confronted by somebody, I was scared. And it wasn't like she's a tiny lady.
Whoop you.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
You didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I just kept saying, like, you need to calm down. I don't want them to hurt you. You need to calm down. I don't want them to do anything to you. And she's like, what are you gonna do to me? Right, and like, I can tell from the things she was calling me and the things she was said that she was saying to me, there was a black man that had done her something that hurt her physically. And even though I show love to her every time I see her, whatever space she was in at that point, I was that to her. You know what I mean? And it was like, honestly, bro, it's the most nervous I've been, bro, in years. You know what I mean? Cause I was also like, I also can't let her jump on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And so, I mean, it's off the subject, but y'all talking about it.
You bring up a good point though, RC, because I think you responded sort of like how a head coach would respond. A little emotional intelligence, a little leadership. No, seriously though, I heard some floating around. Maybe Stephen A. threw it out there about RC becoming the head coach. No, you talking about that was the most nervous you would been in your life. Yeah. Would you have been nervous if they would have, you would have got a phone call to come coach them boys?
Absolutely not.
No?
You would have took the.
Yes.
You would have took the interview.
Yes. 100%. Why can't I?
I'm not saying you can't.
A friend of mine.
Would you want to?
Absolutely. 100%. I've wanted to coach football.
As a coach or GM?
I'll do both. The reason I don't coach, honestly, the reason I didn't coach was because Jordan was starting high school, and I wanted to watch all of his football games, and I knew it wouldn't allow me time. And then when it progressed, the reason I didn't coach and the reason I don't coach now, even though he's still playing, is because where I'm at in the media and what I'm paid, the pay cut would be so large for more work to go be a DB coach. Yeah. Right? And now working under people and having, right? So that's why I don't know. But I got a call from somebody about the coaching thing, and he said, "Why'd you make that face? You'd be a great head coach." And I said, I didn't make the face because I didn't think I could do it. I made the face because I knew that wouldn't happen. And he was like, well, Phillip Rivers got the opportunity. And he posed an even better question to me. He said, people wouldn't have reacted like that. He goes, Dan Orlovsky wouldn't have reacted like that. And people wouldn't have reacted like that had they said his name. And he's like, what's the difference between you two? He was like, you started in the league for over a decade. You won Super Bowls. You were a captain of teams. You were a Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. And when I thought about it, I said, well, the first thing you have to do, you have to be able to tell them you understand how to run a program, how to schedule, how the calendar is supposed to look, what practice is supposed to look like. You got to tell them what you want your training table to be. You got to tell them, this is what I'm going to get as a strength coach. This is my offense coordinator, my defense coordinator. This is the team I can build. This is the type of program I can run. I said, I can do all that. Now, they might not give me that opportunity. And the other piece of it is, too, I don't want to discredit people like the Eric Bieniemys and the Byron Leftwiches and the Raheem Morrises and the Mike Tomlins and the Sean McVays, the Mike McDaniels, the Harbaughs, all of these people who worked their way to get to where they are too.
That's fair.
Right? I don't want to think that I could jump the line on them because I know what they've done. But it did bring up a question because he said, he's like, unfortunately though, because it was people of all colors on this thing, he's like, it felt like it turned into a race conversation. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it needs to be that.
Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be. That was my thing, the Phillip Rivers thing. And that always turned into why is Phillip.
Somebody said one of the words that was used about Phillip Rivers in their chat was, but Phillip Rivers is a leader of men.
Why aren't you a leader of men? The captain of the Steelers, organization, Super Bowl team. That was like, yeah, I'm going to kiss your ass right now, but Pro Bowl captain of the Steelers team. The
highlight of my life was that they voted me captain.
You know what I'm saying?
My career.
And that was my argument that, well, Phillip Rivers is this, so why can't RC be one? Phillip Rivers was a coach. He coached high school. Do you understand the dudes that RC has had at his DB position? Yeah. The all pros that he coached? I'm arguing for you, and I didn't even think you wanted to be a coach. Swear to God, bro. I was like, we had this discussion. He wants to get into the administration side. He don't want to be no damn coach every day. I learned this today that you would be a coach in the NFL. But I was saying, what's the difference? And like you just said, you don't want to disrespect guys. What are you disrespecting in them? If you believe you can do it just as good a job as them, they're giving guys jobs. I don't want to badmouth anybody either, but some of these names I got, I bring up Mike McDonald with the Steelers. Did y'all know who he was 2 years ago?
I did. I'll be honest.
Because you follow.
That's what I got to do, yeah.
The world didn't know Mike McDonald. He got the Seahawks to the Super Bowl this year. There's a lot of coaches out there that you don't know their names, but they can do it. So even for you to say that you're disrespecting Raheem Morris or disrespecting guys, you're not disrespecting them. If you can do it, RC, go do it. If you can't, the first dude gonna call you and be like, bro, you garbage. Bro, you is garbage at this, bro. Why the hell you went for it on 4th and 2? So it's weird because I was justifying it that you said you would. But for them to make it racial, and I did get to that point, for them to make it racial, it's getting silly now. And it's funny that the Steelers were a part of the Rooney Rule. That we're moving towards a point where, when are we going to get to the point where it doesn't have to do with color to be a head coach? Mm-hmm. Leader of men. There's undertone phrases that people use that I don't like. Mm-hmm. That for you to hear, you're not a leader of men, is crazy for me because I do believe it has something to do with an old school thought process. But man, let's move forward. Let's see what we're doing. Let's see black people can be quarterbacks, black people can be head coaches, black people, hey, tell y'all a secret, we're pretty smart.
That's
Do
true.
y'all understand that? Yeah. Come on now.
That's true, and that's why I would certainly vouch for RC to be a head coach or a GM or whatever he chooses to be, because I think he checks all of the boxes. You know, in this short time here, doing the pivot for 4 years, we've seen, you know, the attention to detail. We've seen the accountability, right? We've seen the sense of urgency in how he moves. We've seen the trust that many people, the companies, when they make these calls and he shows up and he's always there. We've seen the players that trust RC with their stories and accessibility, and they want to come on and do this show. The leadership you mentioned, having been a captain, where he started. I think players would respect and trust his story of being undrafted, having to make his way through the ranks after being right there borderline, almost about to get cut. Being able to endure that, to be a leader, to play in Super Bowls, to turn out a 13-year career, which against the odds is 4 times more than the average career. So I think in terms of checking all of the boxes, he has those qualities. Those qualities also can give you the trust of the locker room, which a lot of times is what coaches need. And players like myself, yourself, if you can trust your coach, you'll damn near do anything for that coach, right? And that, in turns itself, I believe will establish a certain culture. You know, having learned that from Coach T, you know, what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. A lot of guys don't have that going in. RC has that. So if you would ask me if he has the qualifications to be a head coach, I would say yeah. Now, it depends on having certain relationships with ownerships to have that access, to be able to get in, you know, to have the trust from owners, I think is one thing, which is always a question when your skin is this color. Unfortunately, there's a hesitation. You're not in that country club where you can get that access. So, yeah, other than that, he has what it takes.
I would ask y'all this question. I love that you went there, though, Freddie T. In this hiring cycle, thus far, at least at the time of filming this, there have been no minority coaches hired.
But it's funny, RC, because you a Steeler and the Rooney Rule was created
By them.
in Pittsburgh. But as we sit here today, there's no African-American head coaches hired in this cycle. And we know one that got fired is a personal friend of ours. So I don't know the questioning behind it. I don't know why you think I joked earlier, like, you can't lead men, you can't do this. It's just stupid, bro. What year do we live in? It's crazy to look at it like this.
You know what? I can jokingly say they did strip away DEI about a year ago around this time. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I do think there are some qualified candidates out there, black candidates, that can get, you know, I guess the remaining 2 are opening vacancies that are out there, and the Raiders and the Cardinals. It is crazy when you really think about it. I think it was 8 openings this year.
I think the first thing is, right, I understand what happens when I have a conversation like this. I understand how people try to spin it when I have a conversation about the lack of minority coaches hired in this cycle, the lack of black coaches hired in this cycle. I do believe it's a problem, but I also believe that people should hire the best coach for their organization, regardless of color. Yeah. I don't care if he's white, if he's black, if he's Asian, if he's Hispanic. If they are the best coach that you have sat with, you hire him. If Mike McCarthy's the best coach, hire him. If Jesse Minter's the best coach, hire him, right? I feel like, though, what we see so often is Kevin Stefanski, I believe, is a really good coach. He's a 2-time coach of the year, right? A coach like Kevin Stefanski can fail in Cleveland and fail up to Atlanta, right? We see so many times, you know, John Harbaugh didn't win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, has a season this year where he doesn't make the playoff, and he's the hottest coach, and he should be because of what he's accomplished. Mike McCarthy, now hired in Pittsburgh, extremely good resume. Great in Green Bay, very good in Dallas, sits out a year, gets a job. Hell, when he was leaving Green Bay, with everything that was said about him with the reason he was leaving, he had a sleepover with Jerry Jones. Because it's about relationships. Mm-hmm. It's about familiarity. It's about who makes me comfortable, right? Raheem happened to be lucky to work under John Gruden, then work under the Shanahan. So now when he's losing jobs in certain places, he has relationships with people like Sean McVay, who says, okay, I know you, I love you, I know how great of a coach you are, come be my D coordinator. Now you go to Atlanta. But Atlanta was ready. Atlanta brought in Matt Ryan. Atlanta brought in this outside company, a man who players are fighting for. Players are saying the only reason that we are still showing up and playing the way we do is because we want Raheem to stay. And you finish and you win, 4 consecutive games at the end of the season, but they don't care about that. Nobody's looking at his resume going, but he was so hot at the end of the season, he got this team going in the right direction, let's hire him right now. And maybe by the time this airs, he's hired somewhere else. But look how fast those other coaches flew off the show. We got a pipeline problem, right? Think about Tony Dungy. This is what Tony Dungy did. Herm Edwards, Mike Tomlin, Jim Caldwell, Rob Marinelli as well, right? But he brought young coaches of color underneath his umbrella, developed them, and they eventually become coaches. They got to start. You got to have those guys. Nate Shieldhouse, McVay does it better than anybody. Nate Shieldhouse, a young black coach, is going to be the next head coach from Los Angeles because he was able to grow in the pipeline. You gotta have that. And where people talk about the Rooney Rule should go, I don't care about the Rooney Rule. They don't even observe it the way they're supposed to anyway, right? I don't care about DEI, none of that stuff. The thing is this, we gotta start getting some of these young coaches to get the proper jobs under the right tutelage, under people that other folks believe in and have relationships with so they can feed off of those pipelines. And until that happens, we'll see this every cycle. And then for some reason, a man like Brian Flores, who I don't know personally, and maybe he's hard to deal with, has had, whether it was Tua Tagovailoa when he left, now Mike Pettin saying things about him. And apparently those things are affecting his ability to get jobs, and we don't hear that about other coaches.
Yeah, now I wanted to ask you if it was a popularity contest, but I love that you framed it as a pipeline problem. I know B-Flow, when he was a young coach in New England when I was playing. He's amazing. So he should certainly have an opportunity. But going back to pipeline, because your former teammate Debo questioned Coach T's coaching tree, and that when you mentioned the pipeline problem, he said Coach T is not a first ballot Hall of Fame coach, right? Because he doesn't have a tree like these other coaches. What are your thoughts on that really quick?
Well, I mean, after freaking Bill Belichick didn't get him, nobody's a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. Mike Tomlin's a Hall of Fame coach.
Right.
And I say this because I love him. I totally disagree with the way Debo has handled the Mike Tomlin situation.
Right.
It's extremely personal. He goes out of his way to point out things in a negative manner. And I have personally had conversations with how much I disagree with some of his takes, even more how much I disagree with the way that he communicates them, why he communicates them, and where he communicates them.
Got it.
I too, though, of all of his takes, not that it matters or whether or not he gets into the Hall of Fame, to me, that is a blemish on Mike T's record.
Okay.
Not hiring and developing more coaches, also adding in specifically coaches of color that can go on to be head coaches and leaders in organizations. Scotty Montgomery was one of those guys. He's the receivers coach in Detroit. He's the assistant head coach, but he left to go to ECU. He coached at Duke. I do think that is something with the wisdom that Mike T had, with the experience that he had, the ability to communicate, the ability to lead. I do wish there was a bigger pipeline of young coaches that were hired and matured in Pittsburgh. But when you look at Mike T's hiring, most of his coordinator hirings were of proven coordinators or older coaches. Coaches that had been coordinators in other places, or like Keith Butler, who grew in the pipeline of Pittsburgh when Coach LeBeau left. He stepped in and took the job.
I would say with the black coach, we've talked about Rooney Rule before. the comfort level of it, but I just go to Miami where I understand. Y'all remember before Mike T went to Pittsburgh, he was going to go to Miami.
To hip-hop.
To hip-hop. Then, when Flores was there, they said he was non-collaborative. So he didn't want to sit around and play with you. The reason that non-collaborative sticks with me is because then they bring in Mike McDaniel, who they just fired. But everybody, it was a joke. Mike McDaniel was like a goofball, a little pop around, Gucci glasses and all. So it's easy to couch, the race thing with the comfort level of it. And I'm not saying that there's a rule that says you have to interview a black person. I'm not saying there isn't any racial bias, but it's the comfort level of these white billionaires to go out there and try to find a young black man that they're comfortable running their billion-dollar organization. And that's a separation. When Stephen Ross is 84 right now, the owner of the Dolphins. Mike T was what back then?
34.
83-year-old white billionaire, 34-year-old young black man.
Nothing in common.
What are they talking about?
Nothing in common.
And we know that Stephen Ross has a boat that he brought Tom Brady on to try to get. He's going to bring Mike Tomlin on the boat and sit down on his yacht. What are they talking about? So it is relatability, and it is that pipeline, but then once you get to that pipeline, he'll sit down and talk to Mike McDaniel with the goofball, analytical stuff way before he sit and talk to Mike about the standard is the standard. And the things that we've heard from Mike Tomlin that made me fall in love with him, and I wish he adopted me when I was 11. It is what it is, and there's a separation in personality, there's a separation in demographic, there's a separation in economics, there's a big separation in trying to get it done, and it's crazy that we're still talking about this in 2026, and I'll say we'll be talking about this in 2036.
A lot of times in a popularity contest, the coaching popularity precedes his production as a coach. But talking about popularity, Pro Bowl, Shedeur, was that a popularity move? I think it was a popularity move, simply because there are a few guys on that list that didn't get in, and I would want to fight for my guy in Jacksonville because he's on the MVP list, one of the MVP finalists, Trevor Lawrence, and they're saying Trevor did not turn it down. I don't understand, and I love Shedeur, and I'm happy for him. How did he skip a few people to get in? Because the top guys are injured. The Bo Nix, obviously he was injured. Drake May is playing in the Super Bowl. Patrick's not there. Josh Allen, don't know if he's going or whatever, however that shapes out. But how did Shedeur Sanders leapfrog 4 or 5 other guys?
It's the opposite of the Rooney Rule. Black quarterbacks make it. I'm just playing. It's a popularity contest.
Right.
All my OGs I talk about all the time. Juniors and the Trucks and the Vonnie Hollidays, the Kevin Carters, the Sam Madisons, Zach, JT. It's a popularity contest. Y'all know a lot of dudes don't make the Pro Bowl their best year, but they make it their next year.
Yeah.
Because now you on the.
I'm one of them.
Now you on the map. The Pro Bowl is a popularity contest. Shedeur did not play better football than Trevor Lawrence. That's not even an argument.
Cam Ward.
He didn't play enough.
Yeah.
But he was the name. He was put on that pedestal. His dad's there. The Browns messed up with all the quarterbacks. Now they're doing the quarterback shuffle. The Pro Bowl now, and I'm not even talking about the game not being football anymore. And I enjoy the flag football game. I enjoy the skills challenge. It's about the biggest names in football in the world, not the best players all the time. I learned that in 05. They told me the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest. You got to be able to play, but if your name's on ESPN enough, if Ryan talks about you 5-6 times a week, your ass is about to go to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, part of the Pro Bowl is it's a fan vote. There was no player with a more rabid fan base than Shedeur Sanders. Sometimes delusionally so. Like, if he threw more picks than touchdowns in the game, you actually couldn't even say it on TV. Like, if you said it on TV, you was a sellout. If you was like, nah, man, he got to, against San Francisco, he didn't play well. He got to play better. Oh, look at you on TV. You letting the man tell you what to say. Are you serious?
Bad mouthing little bruh.
Yeah, like, are you serious? Like, I just watched the film.
Yeah.
And so it's not Shedeur's fault he's in the Pro Bowl. If I'm Shedeur, I go to the Pro Bowl too. In some way, I earned it. But at 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 10 picks, that's not a Pro Bowl season. No. But also, look at the game as a whole. I think it was 3 years ago, Snoop Hundley was at the Pro Bowl. And no disrespect to him, you got to get out there and play. But this game doesn't mean what it used to. One, the little extra $25,000 they might have got back in the day was a lot of money compared to what you're making in the season. It ain't the same no more. And don't get me wrong, them boys probably want to go win the little flag football game and get an extra 80 so they could go trick it off. But I didn't make 15, 20 million. So it's different. Yeah. It's not like, it's bad for the league that it's now seen that way to be a Pro Bowler. And this makes it, much like I say, the Hall of Fame, seeing whether it's Snoop Huntley back in the day or now Shedeur before he deserves it, because I feel like he could earn a right to be there eventually. It's like, well, why should I go from Trevor Lawrence at any point?
Right.
Right? And you don't know what alternate Shedeur is. If he was the first alternate up right after Drake May, then that shouldn't be. Right? Then something needs to be revamped in the voting because people ain't watching it anyway. So you ain't got to put the people they want in it. So for me, it is a tough look for the league.
I would say going from what it used to mean to now, I don't look at Pro Bowls anymore. I look at all pro.
100%.
When I look at a dude's career,
all pros are how you get into the Hall of Fame, are what sort of player you were most times.
Yes. So like the whole thing, Junior Seau, 12 times in a row, Pro Bowl. Like I'll look at Pro Bowls if it's a decade of it.
Right.
But it's bad. Snoop Huntley, I'm not telling my grandson about his quarterback play. Shedeur Sanders got a lot to do for me to tell him about his quarterback play.
Correct.
He's gonna know about his daddy. And that's one of the reasons why Shedeur's in the Pro Bowl, because his dad's Dion, and that's a beautiful problem to have. But now you got to go out there and play. But Shedeur has told them this every single media availability he has. I need to perform. That's what I get judged off of. Mm-hmm. It's us, I don't say us, but the media that makes it something. Shedeur tells you exactly what he has to do. I got to go win games and ball out. And I don't think he balled to a Pro Bowl level this year.
You know, I look at where he's come from. You know, you go from Jackson State to Colorado to Cleveland Browns, become the starter when you were fourth on the depth chart. That is an amazing journey for a young man. So I don't want to take any of that away from him. But this is the first coach he's had outside of his father. And I saw something recently where Prime had to put in a fine schedule for team violations. College has changed a lot. I never met a college student that missed a practice. When you see him having to start with you, Freddie T, when you see him having to put the fine schedule up, what has happened to college football, or what is happening at Colorado?
One would think that he issued that because maybe they've had some sort of accountability issues at some point down the road. I mean, why would you create this huge, finable table for your team? It goes back to, that saying, I'm gonna hit your pockets. If I can't get your attention, I'm gonna hit your pockets. Maybe that'll get your attention. And a lot of these young guys, they have this sense of entitlement when they go into school now, and they have all of this money and they kind of float. I don't know if they have the same sense of urgency that we had. And I don't wanna, talk bad about them because I simply don't know. But the things I hear coming out from guys that I play with that are coaches, around the country, most of the time they say these guys are spoiled. They have a sense of entitlement. They don't move how we move because this is what they're falling back on. This is what you would consider their nest egg. A lot of them don't care to try to make it to the next level. They don't love the game of football. And this is, I think, for Dion, a way to get their attention. But the missing practice part, that stood out the most to me. Obviously, being late sometimes kind of happens. If you're, spending a little extra time with your, student advisor and you're trying to get to practice. One, I was never late, but I'm just saying it does happen. So that's why the offense isn't as strict as missing practice completely. I don't know exactly why Prime implemented it, but it seems to me that there's some sort of accountability issue that's at the forefront.
There was always accountability issues in college sports. The ones that weren't accountable never made it. Y'all just forgot about them. Y'all's teammates at LSU, your teammates at Florida that were mispracticed, you forget their names because they never played and y'all weren't cool. As the guy that got in trouble a lot in college, got locked up all them times, was getting all them fights at practice, probably had an anger management problem and an authority problem, they couldn't find me money. I used to have to do stairs. I used to have to do the Stairmaster. I remember a funny story. Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls right now, was at Florida when I was there. I remember him walking up one day. I'm in there doing the Stairmaster at 5:45 a.m. because Zook and Charlie Strong made me do stairs for getting arrested and getting in fights. He thought I was getting extra work in. So Billy Donovan walked to me on the Stairmaster. He was like, "Hey Crowder, man, I'm gonna talk to you. Talk to my players about how you go above and beyond to get right, whatever." Da da da. And I didn't even tell him because I was just happy Billy D was talking to me and I'm walking the Stairmaster. But they couldn't punish you financially. Yeah. So there were fines. But now, to the new age, if I'm making $3 million a year, you could take money now. What are they gonna take? That little $2,200 scholarship check when we played? That's what I got. I don't know what y'all. Fred got $18 because the
long time ago
milk was 10 cents.
Yeah, no question.
But no,
they gave him a chicken to get eggs.
To your point, they did have, but it was more physical repercussions. But now with these NILs, I hit you with 10 grand.
Chan, when I saw the fine schedule for Colorado, my first thought was like, what the hell happened to college football? I think the NIL thing is great. I think the transfer portal and the ability to move to put yourself in the best position to win is great. But now you can't hold these dudes accountable because they'll leave. Right? Like I can't, if you a 5-star and you not a great teammate and you're not a great leader and you want to show up for practice late, like I can't run you or I can't bench you or I can't do all these things because you'll leave. How do you win? And the other part is too, I gotta go recruit some dudes that ain't like this. I gotta get some people that respect me. I gotta make them respect me. I don't wanna have to take your money. I want you to keep all your money. This ain't the league where I drafted you. You decided to come here. And trust me, you doing this ain't gonna get you to the big money. Don't get me wrong. The quarterbacks, like, they get like $3 million, but like these positional players, you ain't getting banked like that. No. You ain't getting banked like you can get if you're an all-pro safety. Mm-hmm. You can't become an all-pro safety if I don't put you on the field, if you don't come in and learn. And so to me, this is as much a problem with the players as it is the system. This is as much problem as with the people and your support system. I wasn't finna miss practice because I was so damn scared you was gonna call my mama. Cause she ain't raised me like this.
RC, what if you got more money than your mama and daddy combined?
That's what I'm saying. There's a problem with the system. And the other piece is now when you calling home to mama, she say we gonna leave too, cause so-and-so offered us $2 million. And so for me, man, like I'm sad that this has to be a conversation. It wasn't ever a thought. I'm gonna try to be late. I'm gonna miss practice. Why am I miss practice? That's how I go out and kill you on Saturday. And so to me, man, like the whole thing is really, really sad, bro.
Yeah, it's college sports, man. They're gonna be unionized soon, which make them, employees and pros. At some point, the guy from the G League that checked in the game for Alabama not too long ago. It's a problem with the system. You shouldn't be able to go back to college either.
I don't know if it broke the code, but we are saying what's NIL gonna do to college? Because it's changing their mentality. Indiana, entire team averaged 24 years old. Go get some mature ball players that's not gonna run, that's not gonna be late, that's on the edge of graduating, that still can get paid, but they're older, more developed, bigger, stronger, faster, because they've been in school 5-6 damn years, but they ain't gonna miss no practices and you can set it up. I think Signetti did something this year and kind of showed the blueprint of what to do.
Yeah, man, I mean, I think the whole college thing is interesting because these are gonna be the dudes we see at the next level next. And half of them, I'm not gonna know till their last year because they're gonna switch 5 schools by the time they're getting drafted. I'm not gonna know what film to watch, but there'll be the people playing in Super Bowls like Seattle is this year, like New England is this year. Quick, because we'll be in San Fran next week. give me a Super Bowl thought, whatever you want it to be, as we end.
Whew, amazing how fast the Patriots turned that thing around. Being a Dolphin and getting my ass whooped by Tom Brady, Bill Belichick for 10 years, and just seeing how fast they found a Pro Bowl quarterback, they found a Super Bowl head coach is amazing. To say all that, to say they're about to get their ass whooped. Seahawks are loaded, man. Seahawks are loaded. That man, Donald, Jackson, Smith,
And
Njigba. I struggle to say it. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I got to say it quick. No, man, if you look position to position, you could take Drake May over Darnold. I can make that argument. Not how they've been playing. Just recently, you look at numbers. But I'll say that. But if you just look at how Seattle's built, I think it'll be a good game, but I think Seattle will beat it. Will beat the Patriots, but I am impressed how fast the Patriots turn that thing around.
You know, I think it's impressive just to even talk about Sam Darnold and how his career started and where he is now. You look at what he did in Minnesota, I believe 14-3. And the same identical record now this past year or this year in Seattle. And just to be able to lead that team and just have the type of season that he's had, along with that defense. I saw that defense up close when they played Jacksonville. The most dominant defense in all of football this year. People like to talk about the Texans. They talk about the Rams. I've seen all three teams against Jacksonville this year. The Seahawks, clearly the most physical team out there. And it started when we were in Pivot training camp. Our Pivot Tour, training camp this year, we saw them up close. We saw the fights. What was it, 4, 5, 7 fights?
They were gonna fight the Packers and themselves.
The whole time we were filming. So you talk about the physicality that they demand. Coach Mike McDonald, what he's done in his second year there. Actually, we followed them 2 summers because we saw them the previous year in Tennessee, and they were the same type of aggressive, intense, high intensity defense there. Just crazy that what they bring to the table. The Patriots, I think they've done a great job in their first year under Mike Vrabel to completely turn that program around. I don't know, man. Part of me wants to pick my former team, but I just like what I see out of the Seahawks. I like what I see, the build up to Sam Darnold's story. And for that, I might have to go Seahawks if we're picking teams.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go that route.
Yeah, for me, it ain't even about the game. It's the fact that Bad Bunny's doing the halftime.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know any Bad Bunny songs. I know he's extremely popular. I know that he represents where he's from in a way that has given them so much pride.
Yeah.
I'm just happy with all the bull crap that's going on in our country and the way that we're treating people who look differently than us, treating people who we feel like don't just follow our set of groupthink, finding ways to cause more division than anything. I'm glad somebody's gonna be doing the halftime that pisses folks off. And sometimes it just works out the right way. Sometimes you make a decision, and at the time that decision comes to fruition, it's the exact time you needed to see it. So I'm gonna be at SoFi watching the game. I don't get to go to Santa Clara because we got this whole big ESPN thing, but I'm gonna stand up and dance the entire halftime, even if I can't understand one damn word. I think he's a great pick for the right time. Yeah. And whoever wins the game, but I sure hope he win halftime.
You know some of that man's songs. They Spanish words, I can't read them, but you know some of that
I'm sorry if I heard it.
Oh, yeah.
I know it. But man, this was a good show, good chat. I'll see y'all boys in Santa Clara.
Hold up, limitless, niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless, niggas to me, got pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up.